the Brahmanical Manuvadi perspective is being imposed on this country. If they have majority, that means they will rule, govern this government. They are absolutely not concerned about the verdicts, judgments of the Supreme Court. Why is it that the government is not considering the request of the Supreme Court appointed committee? Before we make legislations with regard to the life and livelihood of those people, how can Parliament arrogate themselves? Can we leave the marginalized communities like that? I have a report from the transgender community. I attended their conclave, their convergence. They're completely at disarray. They don't even understand why suddenly such a bill has come. This piece of legislation is violative of many provisions of the Constitution, Article 14, 15, 16, 19 and 21. All these constitutional provisions are flouted blatantly by this government so that this bill can be rushed in, bulldozed. Sir, this is a black day, a tragic step backward, dragging us a full century into the past. Honorable Minister, External Affairs Minister, I want to have your indulgence. All the other countries, 30 plus other countries, are becoming inclusive, trying to embrace this community which has been marginalized. At this juncture, we are going a century backward with exclusionary, restrictive measures. Sir, I would invite your attention to the speech made by Honorable Prime Minister. He said that the existing piece of legislation is a shield of living with dignity. Sir, kya badal diya? Kyun badal gaya? What did change now? So, what provoked the minister? What provoked this government to bring this bill? What has changed all of a sudden? I see that two pertinent things are relevant here. One is that the Brahmanical Manuvadi perspective is being imposed on this country. Second, as the Parliamentary Affairs Minister said, they don't want the Supreme Court to adjudicate on any matter. If they have majority, that means they will rule, govern this government. They are absolutely not concerned about the verdicts, judgments of the Supreme Court. Recently, the Supreme Court appointed committee conveyed to the government not to proceed with this piece of legislation. What happened to that? Why is it that the government is not considering the request of the Supreme Court appointed committee? Sir, the biggest issue with this bill is that from a self-perceived identification, you are going for a traumatic, forced medical intervention. Kiske liye, sir? Sir, I was looking at the Election Commission roll. You have 48,000 transgenders in this country. That is the latest figure as far as. Do you want to ensure that these people will have to subject themselves to this trauma? And are you not invading into the privacy and dignity of these people? Don't they have a dignity? How can you have such exclusionary measures when the whole world is moving towards inclusive measures? Sir, I would invite your attention to the measures taken by government of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. We have brought in so many inclusive measures. Assistance for this transgender community, pension, employment facilities, houses, educational facilities, health assistance. If you have any sensibilities on that, Mr. Minister, please look at the policy initiatives by the Kerala government so that you will not even think for a moment that you need to proceed with this piece of legislation. Sir, what I understand now is that these people want to ensure that a particular pattern need to be the society's cardinal framework. My friend Saged was talking in terms of the plurality, how the choices are being affected. Now, even a film like Kerala Story has been brought in. They want to attack the choice of one section of our country, one section of our society. So, primarily, this piece of legislation is in contravention to the Supreme Court judgment and also violative of many provisions of the Constitution, Article 14, 15, 16, 19 and 21. All these constitutional provisions are flouted blatantly by this government so that this bill can be rushed in, bulldozed. And I have a report from the transgender community. Along with Manoj Jha, I attended their conclave, their convergence. They're completely at disarray, sir. They don't even understand why suddenly such a bill has come. And none of them has been taken into confidence. There was absolutely nil consultation with the stakeholders. Can this parliament be oblivious about a community? And they are not taken into confidence before we make legislations with regard to the life and livelihood of those people. How can parliament arrogate themselves? Can we leave the marginalized communities like that? That's why we pleaded with the government. For God's sake, send this bill to a select committee or a standing committee. See, what is the hurry in bulldozing this bill? I don't understand. That's why I was saying what the Parliamentary Affairs Minister said today. Who is Supreme Court? Who is judges? How can they dictate what we should do? We will govern. We will make sure that the bills are passed. And according to that, the country will be ruled. And Supreme Court doesn't have any say or stake in the governance of this country. The former law minister of this country, who is the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, is he oblivious about the provision of judicial review? Can't the Supreme Court interpret the laws passed by the Parliament?
मुझे लगता है
Is he not questioning it? Sir, I am trying to support the separation of powers envisaged by the Indian Constitution. I am speaking for the Constitution, the document which the country has embraced. So I feel that this is a day which is a black letter day. We are being taken a century back. And I would plead with the minister, you should not invite the wrath of a community. Please make sure that either the bill is withdrawn or let this bill be referred to a select committee. My request to you, Honorable Minister. Thank you.